This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine Ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. What is up, everyone? It's Frank Castle, Sorcerer Supreme, Saturday nights right here on truthfrequencyradio.com. And I'm here. And to the right of me is my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Before we start the show each week, I like to say shout-outs real quick to Chris and Cherie. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here.
We love you.
We love you so much. Shout-outs to the entire lineup. I was just listening to the IHeart, the last show. Very interesting stuff. Very on point. I sometimes speak out loud in the apartment and want to join the conversation just by yelling out loud, but I know that doesn't work as of yet, but I'm working on it.
Oh, so back to that. You should sign up and get a subscription. Definitely, because Frank was talking to air before. So if you have a subscription, you can get into the chat room and you can write down your question instead of asking the air.
You make it so much more difficult. You could always go into the chat
No,
room.
I know. You could always go into the chat room.
But you could listen to all the old shows.
Yes, if you get the subscription.
And all the hosts.
Yep.
You get everything.
Anytime you want.
Wherever you are, make it TFR. I love doing that stuff. If you like the music tonight, HeistClick. That's Heist Click. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Welcome to the now, everybody. I am on a turbo shot of Dunkin' Donuts. And probably shouldn't have done that, but I don't care. Because we have so much to talk about tonight. And this is the story of my journey and my journey alone. I don't suggest you try this at home alone. That is, unless you are ready. Then by all means proceed. But first we suggest finding a reputable shaman who knows what he or she is doing and travel safe in the love and the light. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. So many people in the last 2 weeks have figured that one out. Balls to bones. Woo. What it means to take that extra jump into the deep end of the pool to come out with your gnosis. Right?
I feel like we've been in the deep end of the pool for like a month now, and it's only been a week. This week, so much stuff has happened in this 1 week.
We had a new guest.
Oh, I'd like to say hello to the chat room folks. I forgot.
What's up, chat roomers? Nicholas came from the Fearless Tribe.
Yes.
By the way, shout outs. wearefearless.com. Throw your email out there. The grand opening's coming. This website's turning into the most amazing place to just bring everyone together. All the artists, all the information, by the way. Everybody's asking, how do I do this? How do I make that? Everything's going to be done and put in the one spot. And from there, you can get your jump off point going because we are fearless together. So Nick came. He's one of our artists. I'm just keeping it at that. I don't want to OD on it. But we had a guest last week. We had Gina. Mm-hmm. Then we had Nick. So we had a day off in between.
Yeah.
During the day off, it was last Saturday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, we still did the show.
After the show.
Yep. After the show.
I got a little kooky around here, and I kind of lost my stuff. But during that time, I think I brought something in.
Yes.
right? At your weakest moment or at your weirdest moment, even though you're riding high and you're doing really, really good, you're like, how did this happen out of here? And then boom, you're there.
Yeah.
Just like that, down the rabbit hole, and you come back and you might have a friend with you, but we'll get into that shortly. So what'd you think of Nick?
I loved him. I loved him as soon as I met him. And he had a picture of my kitchen that he drew when he was a child, I think.
Or as a young man?
As a young man. And it was his grandmother's kitchen. And I looked at this picture, and it was my kitchen to a T.
It was literally
from the view where I was sitting from the living room.
Yep,
on the cabinets. Yeah, on the cupboards. Yeah, it was.
As Nick was going,
so many synchronicities.
Yes, as he was going through his artwork and some other things, he was realizing that this was all already happened. Actually,
yeah, for him, it's already happened. We just don't remember, I guess.
And we're just living through it to figure out why this happened. Or how this, how we make this occur. It
has been a roller coaster, and I can't. Since the time he left, it feels like so much time has passed.
I know, that's so weird, right?
Isn't that strange?
There's this thing that goes on, and I guess it would just happen with anyone that has people at their house, or after a while, it starts to get weird, right? You're like, oh, it's my house. And like, is this the right thing? Like, small place. This is what's going on constantly. But an energy burst occurred.
Oh, yeah.
The in-between day that I had off was like an energy down.
Yeah.
Right? I did the show. That was all my energy. Right? Then the next day, as soon as he walked in the door, the energy went right back up. Right through the roof again.
Right back up. And, the excitement and getting to know
excited
to know him and immediately feeling comfortable. Same thing with Gina. Immediately feeling comfortable with someone you've only spoken to
Nick did
online.
Nick did the sigils. I showed the chat room folks once the sigils when I talked about how to lock the AI out of yourself. I talked about the symbol that I created under ayahuasca, and then Nick, I gave him the image. I took a picture of the piece of paper, and he turned it into the most beautiful thing. So I'm finding that you have to be determined and really want to do what we're doing.
Absolutely.
It has to be like your life's like one of those important things. Like, I help people, because I'll tell you what, Nick walked in and his whole demeanor, just like Gina's, was wanting to help people.
Right.
Let me fix me so I can help more, so I can do
more,
yeah. But some of the good stuff. We all seem to have the same love and care for animals, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, immediately there was this comfort and ease, and it's just a beautiful thing,
Well, we laughed at. All right, we probably know each other, him and I, and you, from a long time ago.
30 years ago.
Okay, now check it out. He lived over here, like not far, like 15 minutes from me. And he knows everyone I know. He knows my first girlfriend.
In New York,
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know her? He goes, I try to date her. And I'm like, yeah, I was dating her. But anyway, so we knew all that. And he was making a joke like, yo, man, I moved all the way out to Texas just to find a guy online to come back and drink to New York to drink ayahuasca with that I probably knew as a young man. And once again, back then it would have never have worked.
No.
Just like you and I, just like everybody else.
And I'm even tied to Nick in that respect because we had similar friends from that area where he grew up.
Yeah, you guys were talking about it the whole time. And
I don't remember ever seeing him. I mean, but, we're talking 25 or 30 years, 25 years ago.
It's the universe once again showing us that we're all right here.
Yeah.
Like your soul groups are kind of right in front of you.
Yeah.
You're not really that far. And then you grow up and you're in this environment. You're in this construct. You're in the nature program. And you move on. You move up. You move out.
I think we're pulling our soul family in. That's what we're doing. Slowly, we're just sending the message out. And I think anyone who really is a part of our soul family is catching the message and coming back in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Coming back in to reconnect. It's very strange.
Everyone that's been here has said that this is the place.
Yeah.
Like the smells and the touch and the taste and the visuals. And it's nothing grand to see.
No, it's just a small apartment, but
it's just us.
But like magic happens here. It sounds silly to say that, but yeah, magic happens here.
If we are in, which I believe we are, an artificial intelligent program known as nature, we're going to transcend the definitions of everything inside that program, allowing us to do the things that nobody has really been able to do here in a very long time. Chris would tell you we would be just releasing the raw consciousness, because when that guy gets released, it's a wrap. Game over.
Yeah, it's like a genie in a bottle. You can't put him back
You can't stop the journey. Oh, here's another thing. Everyone had trouble leading into their ceremonies.
Yeah.
Something I just have to bring up.
Yeah.
It's like the universe will provide you the whole thing and line it up, but there will be pitfalls around you. I notice that people that drink ayahuasca, their awareness goes out and they see this more as we talk about it. It's just coincidence to other people, but we know that that's not real. So between problems with a flight, a car, a house, a dog sitter, a cat sitter, something, just anything.
And again,
my tooth, my back, I don't know if I should do this.
Yeah, it's so freaky. But once you make the decision to take the plant medicine, once you make the decision,
like in your head, way before you even contact the person that you're going to go drink with. Way before it.
When you've said to yourself, when it's quiet and you're alone, I am ready to take the plunge. I'm ready to drink. It already starts working. So the universe starts putting all the pieces together so that you can make it happen. The entity that is feeding off of you is the one that causes the chaos, because they don't want to be banished from you. They don't want to have to leave you. They like the deal they have going on. They're around you. They're eating your energy. So when things go wrong, like Gina's car broke down right before she had to get on the road to come here.
Right, and
she had to get a rental car, but she did it because it was necessary. But and then Nick had a couple of complications coming in, and then we had a couple of complications here, getting everything ready. It's the entities, and you have to understand
or energies,
also,
if you're not into that, whatever you want to call them.
Before anyone comes to visit us, the entities already start showing up the night before. So it's like a show that goes on in this apartment the night before anyone's ready even to come and drink. Because all of those other entities, and I know it sounds crazy, it really does, and you can choose to believe it or not.
It's like your crowd gathers the night before.
Yeah, the crowd gathers for you. These entities are waiting to see what's going to happen next.
Who's got a purpose to work on what?
Yeah.
Who's going to make the connections? On and on and on and on. It's a nonstop.
It is a nonstop. Now, Nick left the other day. So we had a day, we needed one full day after the experience for the both of us to decompress. The cats even needed it.
All the cats are sick.
Even Nick needed it. He needed a day to decompress and go home and really absorb what happened and draw his own conclusions and connect the dots. And it just seems that in a few short days, it feels like weeks have gone by. Weeks have gone by in a few short days. It's very strange.
I just want to, I don't mean to interrupt. Hey, listen, don't be that guy in the chat room that asks how you get ayahuasca. Don't even disrespect the plant medicine like that. A simple Google search will send you in the right direction. You never know who's in here doing what. We're not tripping on LSD. It's not that. I was going to save this for last. We're going to talk about it now. One of the reasons why people don't see the beings, and it's this reason right here. Like, where can I score some? Where can I get some? That's why you don't see nothing. That's the reason why. If you're not going in balls to bones now, dedicated, with great power comes great responsibility. Call it any way you want. All right, I'll use the comic book terms if I please. Right? And if you don't have that in you, and you just show me a theater show, Christmas dance, sing for me, dance for me, you're not getting anything. and you have to clear the muck. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
All of the people that have come here
I've taken the journey.
but have had to have. Listen, I made the most powerful, intense brew I've ever made. Put every one of the shaman down. No problem. Drop them. I had 2 people come in here, cups of it.
Back to back.
Back to
Cups
back
of
to
it.
back to back to back to back. Everyone's just going for it like, well, bro. I'm like, I don't see the beings. I'm just sitting here. And then the next thing is, whoa, they're peeling layers off me, bro.
And that's what I think it was.
And then it starts. It's a process.
It's a medicine.
Become your own shaman.
It's a plant medicine. So if you're coming to fix yourself and you're coming to heal from something, or you have a blockage and you're trying to get through it because you want to become awake, or you want to stay awake, or you want to be, part of the shift that's happening, then you do this. But if you're doing this for entertainment purposes,
listen, you play stupid games,
then
you get stupid prizes. You think that beings, even if they're archetypes, are going to play your game? You have to unlock the code. It's like a video game. If you don't have it, you don't have it. It's how you act, how you adjust yourself to submit to the journey and the experience. You have to submit. If you don't submit, they're not coming out.
no. And there's a lot of pre-work.
I went under 40 times, and I met all the beings and everything, but to have one walk in the room with me, I had a heart attack.
Yeah.
With the portal opened, the face came out, and I dropped like a fainting goat because your body just can't handle it. So you have to work up to that stuff. Right? It's an intensive mind, body, soul repair. So the oversoul, the one sitting in the back projecting in, can have a direct line directly to you and your spiderweb center fractal singularity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying attention to that right now because some people need to just learn.
No, but I don't think he meant it that way.
No, I know, but that's not how you do it. You never do that.
Way.
Listen, I used to do. I'm a hip hop artist, right? I'm doing the show in the back, and I do my part. I go in the back, and they have like a VIP area. So we're all hanging out, and the girls came in the back and jumped on this giant bed, and they were going to do this like special performance for the people in the room. Right now, I didn't care about any of this stuff, but I just performed. So I'm sitting there watching. So everyone's like excited. They're like, wow, all the famous porn stars are here. Oh my God. And I know all of them personally. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Okay. And everyone gathers around and it starts. And a dude pulls a camera out. He pulls his cell phone out and starts taking pictures and recording video. They stopped everything at that point. She's like, yo, let me get your phone. I'll take a picture. I was like, don't give her your phone. Took the phone, smashed it. This giant bodyguard came in and yoked this guy. Yoked him. And he's like, but I didn't know. I didn't know. No, don't be that guy in the room. You can't be taught that. You have to learn that lesson. Right? If you don't know that, then there's a problem. This is serious. We're not playing games here. Your God that you seek is you, and it wants companions, not weirdo followers. Not people who run up behind and go, where can I get that? Huh? Google search it, buddy. Oh my God. I can't, but and you know what it is too? It's lowercase g, by the way. The disrespect goes way further. If you're not trembling and shaking at your knees at the thought of this, you shouldn't even be thinking about it.
Yeah, well, you have
All
to
right,
go
I'm done
in
ranting about that because we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, you do, because you don't know. You can't read the...
I don't care.
You can't read the tone
We're
of a
professionals.
message.
That's not how you do it. I read it. I watched it come up. That's it. It's done. Effing pineapple. Okay, so check it out. We building Nick up to the experience, right? He's like a get ready to go guy, right? But he has this, like, I'm going to wander over the middle line a little bit, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Hey, Nick, are you in? Did you break through? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, maybe I did. I'm over here, maybe I'm over there, maybe I'm you, maybe you're me. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's Nick. I see where he's going with this. He's playing that line because it could be anything. It could be, he's literally correct by taking that route.
But it could be.
But as his buddy, hey buddy, right? And as your shaman buddy, not, I I'm trying to break you from that because it's not a line, right? You can't be step one here, step one there, step one. I'll jump back to the other way. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. No, you are. I am. We are.
Well, it's like anything else. You have to own it.
Right.
But you don't know that until you.
But in the beginning,
in the beginning, it's horrifying. It's a horrifying experience.
Well, that challenges me mentally because not everyone sees completely different.
Yeah.
Everyone's vibe is completely different, so you never know. And there's a lot of one-on-one, and I took that part of him, and I took it as like a mental challenge, in a good way, all good, all positive, to try and break that a little bit because that's an unsureness. And I'm not snapping. All I'm saying is when you play the line, you're unsure. Once you see it, and you could ask him the same question right now. I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to get him out one day on the show, and I'll let him tell it. Right now, he'd be on no line whatsoever. He'd be at the 50-yard line on the other side. It's like all the way 50 yards the other way. I mean, with us over here in the Fearless, and that's what it does to you. That's how powerful and potent. If you're like, well, I'm kind of atheist, and I'm thinking that I hear your show, and I want to kind of be down, and you might not get much out of it. You might get some love and some, But once you start that journey and crack that egg, right?
You can't unscramble it.
If you really want it, and you say, I want this. Listen, I need this. Not, yeah, I think so. I kind of think I do. See, that'll plant the seed, and you'll come back later, or maybe not. But when you want it. I tell people, you want this, you drink again. Drink again. Do this. Do this right now. Do this other stuff right now. Do this right now. This is the process.
Too, yeah.
Right? And then the wow factor kicks in. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about my perspective real quick because I need him for the first experience because he was having a light experience and then he blasted off. Mm-hmm. Right? And like hours into it, then boom, gone.
Right.
Me, I went in to see what was going on, and I sat down, and all right, one of the oddest things ever happened to me. I had one of the most frightening experiences in my life. I'm not scared any longer at all. Like I gave it up that night. Like it was that frightening. It was like a horror show live.
It really was.
Okay, so I do my hits of DMT, and as soon as I do, the voice that's right, whatever voice that is, just goes, you have an attachment. Watch out. Like the way a video game opens or something, like, oh, it's about to start. Here we go. And I was not prepared because I was asking about him.
Yeah, to check in on him.
But they were like, nah, don't worry about him.
Yeah, he's fine.
We got him, but this thing has got you. So I look up, and I was telling Paula this because Paula Demon Removal Service gets called in 5 minutes into the story. I had to dial that number. I have it on speed dial, and I look up, and instead of getting clearer, when you smoke DMT, everything goes clear. Like you can see everything. It's perfect HD, awesome. The whole thing gets kind of fuzzy and dull, so I can't see it. Like there's a dirty windshield between me and what I'm supposed to be seeing. And I swear, I looked right up on the angle, and this thing was standing there.
Yep. It
had tentacles and teeth. There was a bunch of them. It wasn't one thing. It was like a bunch of these things, and they were like whipping tentacles to come down, like grabbing me and trying to bite me. So I freaked out a little bit. I said, oh, what's that? And then I was telling Paul, there was this box that they put me in, and there was images coming in on the box, and there was a tree, and the tree came in and then came out of the screen and grabbed me, and it was like black goo, but a tree, and it was like wrapping around me, and all these things were attacking me. I look to my left, and the whole wall is teeth, and it's like a Jaws scene. And it sucked because I watched Jaws the other day, which drove me nuts. And I'm like, well, I'm finally over that fear. I'm like Aquaman, I ride sharks. Nope, no, you don't. Here's a shark right here. Yeah. And it's trying to bite me. And I'm like, no, very scary, very scared. Where's my team? Who's helping me out? Yeah. No response, nothing. I was explaining that it's like sitting under a waterfall and getting blasted with the water constantly. So it's a constant barrage of that Pressure and darkness and evil and images being forced upon you. But just like the waterfall's force, it's kind of constant, right?
Right.
It's always at that same driving. It's just hitting you. As a creator, we're built to withstand these things.
Yes, we are.
But we are the answer to these situations, right? Like the thing we look for. Like, oh, I need a healer. No, heal yourself. I need a shaman. Become your own shaman. You can't find one, right? So I'm being barraged by this. I get up and I look right into Nick's face, and I'm like, I have to purge. I'm going to throw up.
Yep.
And I beeline it into the bathroom. I start throwing up, and I hear the voice, right? And then I see the character reveal himself. It looked like a devil.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of these teams have it on their shirts. There's like a blue devil on the shirt. And it kind of started appearing that way. It was like the side view of it. And then it like came up and moved and then just faced me. And it said, I got you. Like, now you're mine. And I was like, no, you don't. And my body was showing complete other signs of what was occurring. It was saying, yes, you got me. Yes, there's a problem. So I refused. And commercial's coming, so I'm going to just stick at this part. I refused to give in and said, just like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can't get me. You just like a child would. You can't get me. He said, oh, yes, I will. And after today, you will believe in the devil. And I said, no, I won't.
No.
No hate, no hype. No fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. It's a dream. A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world. Thought you were alive until you felt my pain.
All right, we are back. I know this flies by fast. All right, so check it out. I'll get through the demonic episode with you so we can get into Nick's story. But when these things happen, okay.
Look.
Internally, you're like, this is how I felt. I didn't felt taken over. Like I felt like it put me where it wanted me and said, I'm going to show you this. And I was like, oh, that's pretty scary.
Okay.
I was like, that is frightening. That is hard. You know, it even said to me, I was telling you this before. It said, oh, I'm not gonna threaten your little baby nephew and niece. I'm not doing that this time. I'm not gonna go off and eat your cat. Not gonna do that. Not doing that. I'm gonna teach you that the devil is real. Just you. And I was like, okay, go for it. Go for it right now. Because what I'm gonna do is
I'm gonna go in the other room.
I'm gonna go. Oh, this is where it got really weird. I was throwing up, and I'm like, I'm going to get up when I'm done. So I'm like, I got my head on the bowl. Like, it's a horrible experience, guys. And I go, and when I do, I'm going to go in the other room and grab the bong. And I'm coming in full blast.
To get you.
And I'm going to bash your skull into the wall. I was so angry. And I'm like, okay, I can't bash your skull into the wall. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in a box. I'm going to put you in a little tiny box. I'm going to sit you around my neck. I'm going to wear you as a decoration during Christmas, but only Christmas. And then I'm going to take you out, put you back, and not talk to you for the entire year. Believe me, it's going to suck really bad. Right? And this thing was like, what? So a being of light walks up to me and just says, hey, I don't think this is the good idea. We think you should go talk to Paula before the situation gets any worse. And I'm like, no. I'm going to go in the other room, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to stand up for myself, because you know what we're tired of around in my house? In my house, we don't like bullies.
No.
I don't care.
No bullies.
So all right, This is where it gets ridiculously out of control.
And again, you could believe
I showed
it.
Paula how I did this. I came out and I stood in the little hallway we have, right? And I stared at Nick. Nick wasn't looking at me. I stared back at the, where the DM was. And then I look over and there's the door to the room. And the door was closed. So I go, nope, I'm going in. Like a tough guy, I was standing there. Oh, come on, let's do this right now. I went to go make a run to grab the bowl. And it was as if something grabbed me by my ponytail that I don't have, right? Because I'm bald, right? And it was like I had hair, and this thing grabbed my head, pulled me to the door. The door popped open. I flop right on the bed in front of Paula, and I go, Paula, help. Right? My feet sticking straight out and everything, right? So she's like, whoa, what's going on here? So I go, close the door. I can't let Nick see this because it was about to get out of control.
Yeah.
Now, Paula, what happened at that point? I got up, I grabbed the pail.
You started throwing up in it. And we were pushing out this baby demon nastiness. It was awful.
You're quite descriptive this evening. But okay.
No, I don't know.
I think it shocked her a little bit.
No, it did shock me, first of all, because everything was going so well. And you just got up to go to the bathroom. I didn't realize you were being attacked in the bathroom. And he falls through the door, and then he gets on the bed, and then he falls off the bed, and he's on the floor because this thing is choking him from the inside.
It literally filled my neck space with
fluid. It was choking him from the inside.
It was pouring out of my eyes, my nose, my mouth. Yeah. It was like just choke.
So now we have to get this up. So now Frank has the bucket. I'm trying to push it out from the back of his neck. Now we're trying to chase it throughout Frank's face.
We do energy work, so we're running our hands over spots of our body, and this thing is jumping from my kidney to my throat,
behind your ribs,
behind my ear, and then you can feel hot come right off the spot where it's just sitting there. So the front of your head will start to thump. It's like sinus headache times 1,000, and you're like, wait, I was just fine 1 second ago, and now my eyes are popping out of my head. Then that's fine, and your eyes just water, and the snot comes out of your nose, but you're back. Or you like, they always get me in my gut, like right above, but right below, right? And you're kind of like in the middle, like, wow, that really hurts. Yep. Okay, so I throw up, I purge in this bucket. I mean, in the garbage pail.
Waste paper basket, yeah. But so much, he purged so much.
This wasn't like a fun purge, guys.
And
this was like throwing
just
up.
Purged prior to that in the bathroom.
So I don't really have much in me, and I go back outside after it's all over. He was like, "Hey man, you okay?" I'm like, "You okay?" He was up walking around. I think he was having a little trouble disseminating what was happening. Mm-hmm. Like, I think so much was going on that we didn't know about at this moment. So, let me just look over. I have a page of notes. I think we covered everything. Oh, the last thing that had happened as I was throwing up, I remember. They try to pretend that I was changing into the light being.
Yeah.
Right? So this face opens, and the face was a shield on a woman's face. It was like a helmet, and it opened, and inside was the light, right? And then I was floating in it because I was the light. But then I noticed that it was closing and wrapping around me. And saying, yes, you're the light. Yes, you're the light. And I'm like, yeah, nothing does that. I was thinking right away, AI demon, monster. And I'm like, you're still kind of there. And I had to like fly up and get out of that, throw up. And many, many attacks. It comes in the form of a baby. Like, you'll be like, oh, I love the little baby, but you won't put the baby down. It'll come in the form, terrible diseases you could suffer from, the most horrific attacks on you. Seeing things, I realize that there are things, something that are way worse than what you could consider death. The shock and awe of seeing a creature you've never seen before. Literally anything you've never seen.
Yes.
Right in front of you. Here, Tyrannosaurus Rex flashed right in front of your eyes, alive, right here. It growls at you, raw, then it removes it, puts a giant octopus there. Monster with giant teeth, okay, removes it, puts this there. But then 5 more versions of that beating you from every direction on the clock face, and you're just like, what's going on? I can't breathe. I can't use a weapon. I can't So they're like, you're not meant to. These things are
Right.
strong. They're powerful. Darth Vader could take on the entire army. You need to build up a Luke Skywalker, and then everyone needs to build up their internal Luke Skywalker. Come out and know what they're doing. Like, it takes 3. It does take 3. It takes 3 to make it easy.
Because not everybody has a Paula.
Paula's demon removal service. What do you want? All right, so the next day, really, it becomes the day I stared into Nick's eyes and I was like, dude, this is it right here. Like, we broke through together in the most insane way possible. At the top of the Aya, we went in through the smoke as well. And one of the first things I remember seeing, I was telling him as he was kind of floating into it, I said, we're in this. I saw our auras bubbled up around us.
Right.
And I said, oh, look, there, I drew it. Look, there's me, there's Nick. Right. And I said, there's this alien face staring at me. It's like one of the gray aliens. Like, it's looking at me, but it's literally the entire background of a part of the construct. Like, when people that have gone under or go smoke DMT know that when you blast through hyperspace, there's like walls of eyes. So they're like layers that you're blasting through, but there's like different eyes staring at you. And it's the representation of everyone looking in and pretty much from that layer, that level, watching you. But this one was slow, very slow moving. And I'm like, yo, my dude, we're being watched first off, right off the bat. And then I flew through the eye. The eye was gigantic. And I was like, oh, he can't see us no more. Like, we went through and he couldn't turn around and look up because we were going up in density. We weren't going down. So this is the thing. You could look down. You know, we look down at the ant, the dog, the cat. Everybody's got the cheese, the mouse, the rat, you know. And we're all watching that. But you don't look up too often. Or you can look up and you can't see high enough up to where it really makes a difference. Well, when you pass through these layers, it's like a density layer. It was thick too. It was almost like this thing had influence in all the layers prior to it. And when we passed it, it was freedom. So we get to the other side and I'm in this bubble with him and it's getting bigger. It's like pulsating. And a black dragon comes right out and introduces itself to me. And I was like, yo, Nick, there's a dragon in the room. There's something in the room flying around. It was moving in the room. I don't know if he recalls any of this because I told it to him, but I don't know if he saw specifically. I'm going to bring him on the show to talk about this. And I said, I don't know what it's doing, but it's flying around the room. And then it said to me, I'm chaotic neutral. That is my alignment to the situation at hand. So I said, okay, so you're neutral. You're not going to do nothing, but you're chaotic. So you can do something erratically ridiculous. And he was like, well, I'm not going to. And I said, yeah, words don't seem to make much a difference when you're a dummy, right? So you'll say all day, no, I won't do nothing. And then you'll flip the table. So I say, okay, you're not allowed in. That's one for you because I was still angry from the day before. You know how angry I was. I'm not even going to I'll spend the whole episode telling you guys how I want to beat this devil's face in because he doesn't scare me. I said, you don't scare me. It ended with me going like you're a dummy. Like you didn't scare me at all. I watched it last night with Paula, and that scared me a little bit more just because the clown was kind of crazy in it. Like the special effect was really cool. I was like, oh, that was pretty nuts. And I go, that was almost as scary as what happened to me. Not quite, but you have to build up this intestinal fortitude to stand up to this stuff.
And it wasn't even a
because
good copy.
Nothing can harm you. You cannot die. This is the thing.
Can't.
Raw consciousness, sitting in the program. You can't hurt me. You got to get back to the 7-year-old. With that, the 7-year-old's like, no, if I put up this, you can't do that. I know this sounds ridiculous, but the kids know it. I was watching them play baseball today. They know what's going on. Just the way they move around, and he'd come up to me. He'd go, dun, 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 you're fixed, and run away from me. He would like grab me on the chest and do that.
Your nephew, yeah.
And my nephew would run up to me, just grab my chest like in a weird spot, and go, dude, you're fixed.
And then walk away.
And I thought today was the greatest day. By the way, for those who survived the end of the world today, the rapture and all that nonsense. It's a beautiful day. I know the crazy things are happening all over the world, but you guys got to remember something. You have to stay in the frequency and vibration that's not fear, You have to stay in the fearless, the truth frequency, however you want to call it, through all these times. And you'll find that days like September 23rd, 2017 means today might be a good day for you and not a bad day. Not a weird day where they take you off the planet, but literally portals opening, energy pouring into you. If you're looking for the divine energy, it's right there to get, but they tell you, watch out. UFOs could land. You could be raptured off the planet by God, some ridiculous nonsense and all this other mumble jumbo. None of that ever goes on. And listen, and then, yeah, the rapture's not happening. There is no hold on. There's no rapture. There's nothing. You guys don't understand this. You're in a computer for simulation program that you got to change in, or the simulation is going to kind of consume you. It takes over you. You kind of don't get out of it, and you get stuck in the trap, and you go over and over again. All right, so we survived it. It's here. If you want to think of a rapture, it's internal. It's an internal rapture. It's all your everything turning on at once. All right, so I look over at Nick, and I was excited. I was bouncing up and down on the floor, and I looked over in his face, and I said, "Hey, man, you're right." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm all right." Now he has this look on his face all the time, like I got this, right? Like you never tell, like if there's anything wrong. Like he's a good-looking dude. He's just sitting there, like, "No, I'm fine." But then he was like man in the thinking pose almost. And I look back over and I ask him again. I'm like, "My dude, are you okay?" And he looked at me and said, "Oh, Frank, help me. I don't know who I am anymore."
Right.
And I said, "Oh no, he's under." I had no clue. I thought we were having playtime still, and I forgot. Like he's blasting himself for the ceremony, and I'm hanging out, going, "Oh, hey, look what's in the room." And so I look at him and I sit right next to him and I grab him and I'm like, "Okay, buddy, we're here together. We're here together." And I start tuning into him. Like really tuning into, like, it looked like space was in front of me, like outer space. And I was wondering to myself, where are we? Where the hell did we go? But I can't be concerned with any of that right now. My buddy Nick is under. So I look at him and the top of his head is wide open. Like literally, guys, this isn't a joke. Like I was under, he was under. The room was purple to me.
He said literally it was turning.
Right? His head was wide open, cut into 4 parts. So that it looked like there were 4 battery terminals or energy conductor pieces that were made up the top of his head. And it was split open. And I'm like, wow, my dude. And he's just leaning forward. And I'm trying not to wow my dude him too hard because that's how you scare someone to death. And I'm like, now I could laugh at it with him, although we're doing it right now live on air. So the light source that connects us to source, right?
I know.
So that little tether, everyone has one. That's one of us. That's organic consciousness. It's usually on a choker when it comes in. Right, the entities that set up your bodies to begin with put a choker on this so you don't just get blasted with high density vibrations and energy. Right. Right. His looked like a laser beam. Yes, that's exactly what it looked like. Well, chat room. I'm sorry, chat room people. That's it right there. Except it was white light. It might have been bigger than that at the base. It was like as wide as the head.
Yep.
It was just cranking out, and I'm like, whoa. Now, as I back up from him, I go, okay, he's going to need some stuff. So I'm staring at him, and I'm like, okay, hey, buddy. I do the, hey, buddy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want the whole deal, right? And he's like, I don't know what you mean. And I'm like, no, the energy work and all that. Like, I'm not getting weird, but yeah. And he goes, yeah. And I go, wow, that was yes, maybe this will help me. So I go, okay. I go grab the sage. Come over. Sage him up. I'm looking at him, and there's like wires coming out of him.
Yeah, like the Matrix, yeah.
I know. It looked more, I called it, and this is a wrong way to say it, but like the way he was sitting forward and the way things were hooked up to him, it was very Frankenstein monster. And
yes,
but that's the wrong, that's too old school. But it looked like we had electricity bumping through him through connection wires. So yes, very Matrix-like as well. Yeah, actually, it was Matrix-like, but he was hunched over. It was more like Frank was doing this on his own in his area, and he had just this equipment. It was very weird to me. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like diagnosing what's happening, and I'm like, hey, buddy, there's beings in the room with you. Do you see them?
Right.
And he's like, well, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can see them or not. And I'm like, listen, you're being worked on right now. They're unlocking you for real. Right? So we're going to start. I put frankincense on my hands. I started doing I started doing the energy work around him, and I started spinning open his chakras, and it worked. I was like, whoa, this is working, but it does work. Like, I've done it before. Why wouldn't it work with him?
Right.
But there's always that, what if it doesn't? Like, what if I don't vibe with you and it doesn't work?
Well, then
but
you
it's
go to
never
the next thing.
But it's never done that. Right? It's like saying, oh, my brew's bad, it doesn't work. It's like, no, the person's broke and needs to be fixed. The brew's fine. Right? So all these crazy
because
things.
you always immediately like panic and think it's the tea.
Last week I said on the episode, the first thing they said to me when I got in was, hey, before we start this with Gina, congratulate yourself. Look at you're here.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I got to help her. And they were like, yeah, you're going to, but you have to say, yay, like, be happy.
Yes.
And then I said, yeah, of course I'm happy. This is awesome. And then instantly we all connected.
Right.
So it was really cool. So now I'm sitting there with him, and I'm like looking back at him. And as I sit on the seat on the floor, I hear, nobody's here except this. And I just see this pinkish, purplish, I don't know, it looked like energy blob floating around the room, right? And I go, oh, that's me right there. That's me. And then, oh, look, that's Nick. Like, it was coming out of my back. And then I see that it's coming out of him. And they're like, yeah, well, that's really all that's here. And I'm like, what? And they're like, look, nothing. And Nick said this to me too. He's like, I don't know if I'm you or you're me. And I'm like, no, I can see it in the room. There's nothing here, but okay. Now we're going to get into moving objects with this stuff, because this is what they sat me down. They were like, hey, listen, look at your friend. I looked at him. You guys were talking about this before, moving objects with your mind. I'm like, yes. So they go, look at the table. I looked at the table. I saw the bowl sitting there. And I go, reach out to it like I'm going to move it with my hand, right? Like some X-Men movie. And they're like, nope. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? No. And they're like, nothing is here in the room but that. Do it again. So I looked over, and that, I swear, you guys, if you understand this focus, if you're ever under and look at something and you connect to it, it's like the $1 Million Man with the no, right? And it's moving in the slow motion, and it just makes the full connection. Yeah, I talked about this when I asked the wind to stop in the yard. With the object. They're like, you don't stop the object, you ask the wind to stop.
Right.
And
to
I looked at the
object.
Yeah, to move around it. And I looked at it, and the focus was so intense that I took myself out of it. Like, whoa, what was that? And they're like, well, you're connecting to the object.
Right.
And I go, what do you mean? They're like, well, you're not moving it with not even your mind. You're moving it with your consciousness. It's the only thing in the room with you. Your body's not even real. If you're in a simulation and you're in a this and you're in a that and you're in a this and there's AI running everywhere, the programs, you're not here. The suit is something you're running.
Right.
What you're doing is breaking your consciousness out and making it available for you to just work in the room independently of your flesh suit. That's really you, though.
Accessing your consciousness anytime you want.
And just and grabbing whatever in the room. Anything. Right. Look, it literally was, you can do anything. So I'm like, okay, so I could do that again. So they're like, try it. And I can't get through the focus part because it gets to the and attaches, and then I freak because I feel like I become the object.
Right.
And that's the
so
opposite. Alien.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what they want you to do.
It's like a weird observation of it. You're not observing it, you're becoming it, understanding it, and then looking at it. I guess it's happening in multi-layers or something. Because they're like, what you're trying to do is so simple. They're like, when you get this down, you're going to laugh at this part and go, and I'm like, yeah, well, baby steps, right?
Yeah.
So Nick looks at me and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, they're telling me that we're not here. Like, the only thing in the room is these things, and that's it. And he's like, well, yeah. Like, so we come out of it, and he says to me, you know, we were where we were, right? And I'm like, not really. Like, I was very comfortable, though. Like, I kind of was busy working. And then I realized that I was comfortable working, so I must be in a... And then I was like, And he goes, dude, we were in your spaceship. Now, I laughed. Haha, blah. But here's the reality of it. I've been screaming privately in my experiences that I feel I have things that belong to me, that are mine, that I want. Like, they belong to me, so I want them now. And they're like, you can have them, but not now. Like, it's in order, because if I just give it to you, it turns into madhouse. So I'm like, okay, where's my ship? And they laugh. Everyone's like, they're like, oh, you feel your connection. I go, my ship's alive. Like, it's connected to me, guys. Like, it's a sphere. And so it's not a Millennium Falcon. It's a sphere. But it's mine. Like, I'm symbiotically connected to it. And you know what? Most of you are too.
It looks like the ship from the Jetsons. When
the bubble part,
the
yeah.
Bubble part.
Well, it's a sphere. And then it could be whatever. Like, you could do whatever with it. Like, internally, it was like my designs were in there. Stuff that, you know how I put my toys around the house?
Yeah.
Action figures everywhere, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of had that.
Oh, so it had your crap over there, too.
You can tell that was like my man cave, kind of. And I was busy just doing the work, so I didn't really put two and two together right away. But I was like, oh, my ship. Because Nick was like, dude, that was your spaceship. So even I miss things in the busyness.
Of course, yeah.
Because then the day before,
that's
like,
so
you get
funny. You even have stuff there. That's hysterical. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. You would have stuff there too.
That's what they were. They were like, just look. And I look, and I go,
sense.
oh, look at all that stuff. That's mine.
That's my stuff.
I go, I even drew that. And that's horrible. I draw horrible. Like, it's like when we had the refrigerator's littered with the pictures. I mean, it's not a mess, but you look at my desk here. It's ridiculous. But it's the as above, so below. It's the same thing. You're running a consciousness, and you're inserting the higher one, right? So, but it's you. So all your little quirks and things from every time that's ever been there. Yeah, like they're going to playfully make themselves available right in front of you. It's going to manifest.
Those are the reminders of who you are.
Speaking of manifestation, it started immediately happening. I'm not going to say what, but Nick had multiple manifestations in one day, first day home.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Talk to me about them.
You know, and it's funny because we talked about that too. He and I had a very nice conversation about connecting the dots and what's going to happen after, you know, this next few weeks pass. And, you know, and he's putting together ideas so quickly. He's pulled out artwork from 15 years ago.
He was showing me artwork just before the show, literally.
That's relevant to now. And
he was like, hey, look, that's the inside of your spaceship. Yeah. Look at the picture on the left. That's
strange.
I drew that 15 years ago. I made that art piece, whatever it was for his job. Connecting, making connections, more connections. And then it was already in the works that, like, we already knew we would, the deal was for me to unlock and bring it back. Oh,
yeah. We don't want to lose it.
All right, so check it out. I love you guys. Nick, truly, a fearless man. Went out there. When you put in the hard work, this is what you get. You get woke, and this is what we do. We wake. We make leaders. We want companions, not followers. There's the pick right there, chat room. Have fun checking out the spaceship. Stick around. Chris and Cherie are up next.